So when it comes to fighting in the street in general, people always want to talk about, well, this is the best kick for the street, this is the best kick for the street, only use front kicks. Here's the deal. Any kick is effective in the street if the situation calls for it and you have the physical capabilities to throw the kick. What's more important, however, is where you're placing those kicks. Now, there's a caveat to this, right? As I mentioned, you have to physically be able to do the kicks. You have to have the skills to throw the kicks. If you're just pulling out from your ass something that you've seen online or in the movies and you don't have any prior training, you're gonna end up like this kid. When it comes to just dealing with situations, we have to remember that when we're in a street fight, we're not gonna be squared up like we're in a ring or a professional fight. We're not gonna have necessarily like our feet staggered. Like, we both train, so if we're in kind of like our fighting stance, we're gonna be in whatever we're comfortable with. But in the street, guys are hunkered down, they got their arms out, and you're constantly moving. So I'm not necessarily trying to set up kicks the same way that I would in a sport match or sport setting, right? I'm just looking for the perfect opportunity. Now, the first thing that kicks come in handy for is maintaining distance after you create the distance. So in my opinion, the teep kick is probably one of the more effective way kicks to utilize, right? Again, if we're talking like straight situation where my hands are up, maybe he's in my face, getting angry, whatever, and I'm just trying to like keep him back, like, you know, back off a little bit, and he's continuing to pressure in, whether he's angry, whatever the case is, a simple teep is a good way just to, again, start to create that distance to where then I can start moving. Now, if we're talking like where to place a kick, right? Even if I have the ability to kick in the face, in a real situation, intensity's high, like I'm not gonna risk it. I would rather just teep right and again, lower abdomen, you know, suck the air a little bit. If I nick the groin, that's just a bonus, right? But all I'm looking to do at this point is create that distance and then I have to start moving. It's not like I blast a kick and then I stay here, right? I blast a kick and I start moving because again, I wanna start creating that space. I use that kick to create space, now I wanna maintain that space. So I can use continuously kind of throwing teep kicks, and as he steps in, I can start attacking other parts of the leg. And this is where we start kind of setting up other kicks depending on how aggressively they approach, right? So we talk about throwing teep to the gut. I can throw teep to the top of the leg. And you can do it a couple ways. I can throw it a little bit higher towards the top of the thigh, or in my opinion, I'm gonna try and hit right above the knee. Again, we're talking street, I don't want you to progress. I'm just gonna drop a quick kick to the top of the knee. If I bust it, if I hyperextend it, again, bonus for me in those situations. That's kind of where I will utilize a teep kick. I'm not gonna sit here and try and do like field goal kicks to the groin. I'd rather just teep you right in that general area and get the damage. When it comes to attacking the leg in general, right? Typically, like side kicks are great, especially if I'm kind of like turn. We'll get to that in a minute though. But otherwise, I like to chop away at the leg. And if I do enough damage, especially for someone that's not trained, right? Very rarely am I gonna come across like a Thai guy in the street that's gonna start checking my kicks every time I'm throwing them, or is he gonna be able to take the kick, right? We talk about this with like headbutts. When you get headbutted in the street, we're in an argument, all of a sudden I just pop a head right into your face, people kind of reconsider their actions, we'll say. Like they just completely have like a, yeah, you know what, I'm good, man, I'm out.
I'll fuck you up.
Oh, fuck it out.
Go on. Don't fucking threaten.
And the same thing can happen with the leg kicks. If this guy, again, like if we're kind of getting hands in my head, dude, back off, and I just drop a hard kick to the leg, a lot of people can't take that pressure, and you're gonna get a couple reactions. Either it can be like a reconsideration, like he's gonna be like, yeah, fuck that, I'm out. Or it's gonna be one where I rock him a little bit, and then if he does progress, I can easily pop in and throw some hooks, crosses, whatever, or I can start working more kicks. But either way, I'm gonna start damaging and putting pressure on the leg. And the idea with attacking the leg is that the more damage I do, harder it is for him to progress. Now again, if we're talking street, he's not gonna be going punch for punch with me. I may be able to land one good kick, and after that, I guarantee you, if I haven't scared him off, he's just gonna pressure in, whether it's just, you know, pummeling me with punches, whether he tries to change levels, just go ahead. Like if he just starts getting in my space, right? I'm not gonna have necessarily time to start throwing other kicks. That's where, and maybe won't go ahead again. Might be one where I just have to kind of clinch up, and now we have to kind of start taking things into a different route. But I'm not necessarily gonna be able to sit here and just go whack, whack. Because again, he's not gonna take that. Sport, yeah, we'll trade here. Sport, you know, kick, he may take the kick a little bit. I may be able to set up a couple, and he's just gonna kind of wait it out, because again, we're playing a game at that point. We're trying to score points, you know, I'm not worried about other factors. Let's talk about ways that I do like to chop at the leg. First one, as we talked about, is just literally attacking the outside. You can do it a couple ways. We can wind up with like a power Thai kick, just coming straight down, slicing on the leg, always a good way to get power. Again, it works really well if I can even throw in like a jab and a kick, or even like a cross and a kick at the same time, just to kind of switch it up. If I'm looking for a little bit more speed or distraction, we have like the Dutch kick, where I'm just kind of smacking it in real quick. Again, not doing a ton of damage, but it's still kind of like, hey, you know, what are you doing? Boom, kind of just like, oh, hey, I just tapped the leg a little bit. But that's typically where I'll attack on the outer part of the thigh. Again, we talked about attacking on the front. Another good spot is on the inside, especially if he's kind of really pressuring in with that front leg, and maybe I'm trying to cut on an angle. Again, if he's pressuring into me and I'm like, hey, you back off. If I want to exit to the outside, I can exit and kick to the inner thigh in the process. Maybe I'll buckle his bounce a little bit. Maybe I'll just rock him, and again, get him to reconsider. It does suck.
That sucks.
It does suck. So those are kind of like the two big ones that I do. If you do want to kind of do something that's a little bit more for sport, or if I'm trying to like really just sweep them out from under their feet, I can attack the back and I can actually aim for the calf. And Shane Faison actually taught me this one. What I want to do is take my lead leg and step out. And as I step out, I'm going to take my rear leg and now kick and attack behind the calf. Now this is nice for sport too, just because if you do get a guy that goes to check this kick, when he starts bringing that leg up, I'm still able to get behind it and I'm still able to make contact with the calf a little bit. Again, do some damage and potentially sweep him out. So if I'm attacking the leg, that's a general space with it. If we're talking like side kicks now, if he steps back at any point when I start bringing these in, that's fine. I can easily switch it and just bring right up to a side kick. That's one option to do it. Another is like maybe I kicked him, I start cutting out at an angle, I see him start turning back into me, and I can easily just kind of pop up. You can kind of do, you know, there's a lot of different variations to do the side kick. I can quickly just kind of pop my heel and just come up and do a side kick, like all the different variations. But the general consensus is this: if we're throwing kicks in the street, one, throw what you're comfortable with, but also just throw what's available. Stop trying to think of like, oh, well, the front kick's the only kick I should use, or the side kicks are the best kick. They're all good if you know how to throw them. It's more important of where we're hitting. So again, I want to target lower diaphragm. Again, if you nick the groin, it's a bonus. If I can attack right down the center of the quad, especially the top of the knee, awesome. The IT band, the inner thigh especially, or anything nice and low in and around the calf that's going to get them to kind of step out a little bit. When we're talking like really, again, close quarters, like those low kicks on the inside to kind of really get them to buckle down is a good way for me to come back in and get strikes, or even kind of get them, if they have like a weapon, for instance, get them to rock their balance, look to post. Like you have tons of options. So train your kicks. Don't focus so much on how you're kicking per se. Get comfortable with kicks that you're good with, and more so just start looking for them and understand that, again, if we're talking street, you're not going to have the opportunity to throw a lot of kicks, and you may not even have like the range to really wind up. It might just have to be like quick kicks. So just kind of pay attention to what's available. If you have to switch it to a knee, that's fine. But at the end of the day, utilize your training. Go train striking, Thai boxing, kickboxing, whatever you want to do. But yeah, start incorporating that. Stay safe.